Hello and welcome to the Mirror Gaming Walkthrough. We've got some great topics for you this week, including Diablo 4 Season 1 update literally puts players in hell. Okay, maybe not literally, but it is putting them in hell. We've also got a Project Q leak, which suggests that the PlayStation 5 handheld will run Android. What? We're going to talk about that a little bit more. We'll also talk about the fact that Modern Warfare 3 has been confirmed by Monster Energy Drinks. What? We'll be talking about that a little bit later on, but not before we play you the credits. Are you prepared to go public with your KD online or
no?
Everyone thinks he or she is the best football expert on the planet.
You see it in the back page of the Mirror, deal agreed.
I think the most important thing is just to have fun.
What? 310?
No, what button is it?
Well, hello.
We're ready to come for the W, yeah?
Ooh, 12.
Ooh, here we go.
If you can master second man press, you will defend 10 times better.
Today I'm going to be reviewing the PSVR 2 headset.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Mirror Game Walkthrough. I pressed the trailer button twice then, so apologies if it just sagged a bit. But welcome to the Mirror Game Walkthrough. We've got some great topics, as I just said. Joining me to talk about all these topics today, I'm delighted to be joined by two of my Mirror Gaming colleagues. Jasmine, how are you getting on? You all right?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on the podcast, I think. I think the last time I made an appearance was when the infamous remake versus not remake argument happened.
Yeah.
And then after that finished, Nathan said, Jasmine, you're never allowed on the podcast again. And I had to beg for 4 weeks to come back. So now he's finally let me come back, and I'm hoping to start some more arguments today.
Absolutely, that's what we want. And I know I was there. I was in the middle of it. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. We've also got Aaron joining us today, our resident Diablo tormentor. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good. And I just want to say that while all that was going down, I obviously wasn't on the podcast, but I've got a distinct memory of being in at the train station in London. I think it might have been King's Cross, while watching on my phone, waiting for my train to come in, and there was an absolute meltdown happening between Scott and Jasmine. Metal Gear Solid remake, do we need it? But that was a classic Mirror Gaming walkthrough pod moment, if I do say so myself. Classic.
It'll be forever remembered. It'll be infamous. Yeah. Go and check out that episode if you want to, but not before you check out today's episode of the Walkthrough, because we've got some great topics to go through. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching the show. And as always, if you've got any comments, please pop them in the chat and we'll go through them as we go as well. So shall we start with the first topic, which is Diablo 4 Season 1 update puts players in hell. There's a lot I don't understand, so I'm going to be heavily relying on Aaron I'm a Diablo 4 noob. So let's go through this topic. So Diablo 4 Season 1 is now well underway, but Activision Blizzard has acknowledged players' disappointment already with recent balance changes. Despite being a behemoth success on both the sales and concurrent player numbers front, Diablo 4 Season 1 launched last Thursday under the rain cloud of fan disappointment. Season of the Malignant added several new changes to keep you playing far beyond the campaign. Yet again, service struggled to meet demand, but the update also nerfed every character class ahead of the debut season's arrival. Fans were so outraged that they had to do a campfire chat live stream the day after Season 1, in which the Associate Community Management Director, Adam Fletcher, said, "We want to acknowledge everyone's feedback in regards to reducing player power." And this is incredible as well. He also said, "We know it is bad. We know it is not fun. We ourselves know it is not the greatest play experience for players out there, and that they don't plan on doing a patch ever like this again." We've got some discussion questions. Diablo 4 has been so popular. We've talked about it. We do loads of content on it on Mirror Gaming, video and editorial-wise. Why would they take a game that's so popular and be like, "Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do a patch that's going to annoy all our players"? Aaron, can you give us some insight into why Blizzard would do that?
I think the reason they've done this is because obviously it has a lot to do with the Season of the Malignant content update, that they're implementing like all these new mechanics like Malignant Tunnels, the hunt for Malignant Hearts, which is essentially a new form of gear where you can insert these hearts of varying different specialities, I guess, into like infected items and stuff. So honestly, with a game like Diablo, especially now that it's all online like this, it's just a constant. I kind of feel sorry for like the development team in the back end, because it's not like a lot of live service games. Like Fortnite had an update today. The Futurama characters are out. That's it, pretty much. You got new back bling and new weapons, I guess, but back bling doesn't really affect like, player ability or anything like that. Whereas in a game like Diablo 4, like it's that's what you buy into. The reason that players become so invested is because they're gonna engage into these new expansions, these new content updates. That's what they're there for. And when you've got people spending hundreds of hours into characters that they've built up and have been told is the best way to build a character, only for them to be knocked down again with the click of a finger, like someone's finger in the back end, it's incredibly frustrating, specifically for end game level players that have worked so hard and have put in the time eventually. So I'm truly believe in my heart of hearts that this wasn't Activision Blizzard's intention, was to irk everybody. I think basically the main problem going into this ahead of this update was that they were worried that end game level character class builds were too, well, not broken, we'll say, but we're having too easy a time. And specifically following the patch, which is known as Update 1.10a, ridiculous name for a patch, because then we had 1.10b, and now sometime in the next couple of weeks we're getting 1.1.1 to fix some of this stuff. It's just a complete mess, to be honest. But specifically if you were a barbarian or a sorcerer player, I mean, all 5 character classes got nerfed to hell, to the extent that not only are they weaker in the end game now, which is a fine line, because then you've got certain members of the community that are worried about it becoming too easy. So, but they're not the ones, voicing all their displeasure at the moment. But then you've also got the fact that by making the characters weaker, they're more difficult to level up. So people that want to take part in the new season specifically are going to have a tougher time getting to where they need to be. And obviously the season only lasts 3 months. So it's all about fine tuning. It's all about carefully balancing these tweaks. And unfortunately, for the most part, Activision Blizzard 1.1.0a didn't hit as intended. Hopefully that made a bit of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to work out, like, in terms of you said that every character class was nerfed. So if every character class was nerfed, why do it at all? Because if
like they're all the same now.
Yeah,
if they're all nerfed, then they're the same.
If every character class is nerfed, then the patch doesn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's all
but it does, though, because they're not all nerfed like equally. It's to do with the specific builds of the classes. So if you were to go to mirror.co.uk/gaming right now, I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Nice, yeah.
Got to get a plug in there. And maybe keep your eyes on the channel for a specific video next Monday, I want to say. Basically, within the different classes themselves, there are multiple different skill trees you can take. And if you're just a casual player like me, then you don't really care about what points you put into. You're just kind of like, oh, this sounds cool, this looks cool, let's do it. Because I'm primarily playing solo anyway, or I'll play with friends. But like the Barbarian's a good example. Like, I'm not quite sure how far back this stretches, but I know that at least with Diablo 3 and now Diablo 4, a popular skill tree path for the Barbarian is what's known as Whirlwind, where there's a specific selection of powers that players will pour their points into. And let's say, you focused on being a Whirlwind Barbarian, well, that gets nerfed suddenly. The Ice Shard Sorcerer is doing increased damage output compared to what you were doing. And that's despite the Sorcerer, doing lesser damage. So, and then if you couple that, and I'll be honest, like, Diablo 4 is pretty good about letting you respec for the most part. Like, you can just pay gold, which is very easy to come by in Diablo 4. Just completely wipe your skill tree and start again. But obviously, if you get used to a specific style of play, it's going to be annoying to like relearn tactics and everything, because it's all about DPS, AoE, all these minute buffs and upgrades. But if you couple that with what I said earlier about the fact that if you are just jumping into Season 1 now, because as we'll maybe touch upon, you have to start a new character to enjoy the Season 1 stuff. It's going to take longer to get to, say, level 50 at the start of Season 1 post-patch than it was pre-patch in the main game, which obviously there's an argument to be made that it wastes players' time more so than it arguably should. Yeah.
You've explained that very well.
Try to.
Something that I find it difficult. We've got a couple of discussion questions which we'll go into, but just for me personally, I think we were talking off camera yesterday. Obviously off camera because we're not always on camera. We were having
Not
a
always
chat
streaming.
yesterday.
Yeah.
We were having a chat yesterday off camera. Just basically talking about, I might be interested in doing a bit of Diablo 4, like potentially streaming it, doing
I
bits
don't
and
even know
bobs.
why you said that, to be honest with you. Because I feel like you've, at the worst time of Diablo 4, you've gone, I want to play that game.
Yeah,
and I just don't get why.
So season 1, we've been doing so much content around season 1. It's actually got me a bit hyped for it because I've read so much about it and everyone's so hyped. And I was like, yeah, I'll jump into it. And then Aaron kindly explained, hang on, you need to complete the campaign to even access season 1 content. And then, oh, by the way, when you complete the campaign, you need to start a completely new character to then play season 1. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean, you're never going to run out of stuff to do in the game, which is like one of the main sort of selling points of Diablo, and has historically been for the franchise, is that there's like so much to do that you'll never run out of stuff to do. You could put thousands upon thousands of hours into this game and still not have done everything that there is to do, which is why I think they structured it like that. So it's just to make sure that there's more content. But I do feel like that's silly. I feel like there should be an option to opt out of completing the campaign before moving on to season 1 or whatever.
So here's the thing. Oh, you're right. You
Get ready for the
technically need to
thing.
finish the campaign to access the seasonal content. But once you complete it once, then you can just jump into every season as it comes through willy-nilly. It's not like whenever a new season comes.
Repeat the campaign.
No, yeah, and there's the option to skip towards the end of the campaign if you don't want to like do that.
Yeah, but that should be a given. I don't want to do the campaign more than once anyway.
Yeah, I guess the idea from Activision Blizzard's end was like, we release the game, there's no seasonal going for a month. That gives people time to play through the campaign. And then now that the season's arrived, and I'll be honest with you guys, despite how much has changed with the new season, because basically it's split into what's called the seasonal realm and the eternal realm, right? And the eternal realm is the vanilla base game as it'll always be, essentially. And that's where your character that you made originally, as well as the character in the current season, by the time the new season starts, that character gets reverted to the eternal realm. Because you have to start a new character again when the new season arrives.
Nathan
Spoiler
looks
alert.
like he's about to stop.
I've heard the word new character so many times.
Yeah. But this is like the kind of like I get it. I get
this just the way Diablo is? Like,
that's it, man. Because otherwise, it's like, okay, I'm level 100. I can't max out, but I can. And then by the time, let's say you could take your Season of the Malignant character into season 2, whatever it ended up called, it's going to be overpowered. So the idea is that by only letting certain things carry over, like the Altars of Lilith, which provide your character with permanent upgrades depending on where you are in the map, you won't have too easy a time. And obviously there's the different world tiers where there's 4 world tiers, and each tier is basically a different level of world difficulty, and you have to beat world tier 2 to access world tier 3, world tier 3 to get world tier 4. It is what it is, but like the good news is that if you wanted, it is what it is. Get that on a t-shirt. The good news is that if you just wanted to treat Diablo 4, and the developers themselves have said this, as like a 30-hour single player campaign or co-op game, you can. You don't have to do the season stuff.
But I am not spending 70 quid for a 30-hour single player campaign.
Well, God of War Ragnarok is about 30 hours.
I was going to say
that's a game of the year. But yeah.
Like that.
We all know that Jasmine's got prejudices against Diablo 4. You can go back and see it on this channel on a stream. Ugliest game of 2023.
The ugliest
was it,
game.
Jasmine?
Yeah, that was a direct quote. Wasn't that on their marketing material in the end?
Yeah, didn't they
think
put
it
that
was.
on there?
Blizzard.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
I will say though, one thing that is a positive note coming out of all of this is that it's clear that the devs actually do really care about Diablo 4 and really care about the player feedback that they're getting, because I think typically, especially with big game studios like Blizzard, like Riot Games, like they don't like taking on player feedback. They don't like it when they put something out, players don't like it. They just typically ignore when there's negative feedback on it and carry on doing whatever they're doing, don't rectify it for ages and ages, and then maybe if you're lucky in a year's time they'll be like, do you know what guys, that kind of sucked, we shouldn't have done that. So the fact that there was such an immediate response from the dev team to be like, hey, we screwed up and we're sorry and we want to fix it is a really positive note, for especially given that Diablo 4 is still so young. it sets like a really nice tone for what will be the rest of the support on this live service game, and it makes you think, okay, they're gonna listen. They're hopefully not gonna do this again.
So just on that note, Jasmine, I entirely agree, because like it'd be so easy for them to just like ignore, hush out the noise, and say like, "Oh, everyone's having fun," kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is that they're locked in now for at least, I would say, 10 years, because Diablo 3 is still going, Diablo 2 Resurrected still going, and it's a major runaway success. That's why they need to be like delicate about it, because they don't want this player base to get frustrated to the point that they turn away and play something else. But Jasmine's right in the fact
in a time
that,
like this when there's so many games to go and play now.
But I think that Diablo 4 like occupies a very unique space in the quote unquote live service market, because there's nothing else really like it being. There's no top-down dungeon crawler, primarily single player story driven that's supported to this extent. Like, so it's a nice niche that they've had it carved out. Obviously, I don't know too much about Overwatch 2, but Blizzard clearly dropped the ball with that sort of stuff. This is a different part of Blizzard that seem to be handling things better. And on that point, they said following and Nathan read this in the opening statement, because this is a courtroom, obviously. Following the reception of the update 1.1.0a, they're publishing patch notes. I've set a challenge to myself.
Okay,
but yeah,
right.
They've said they're publishing patch notes prior to them dropping now, and while that's a good like marketing line to say, I don't know how much use that's going to be in the long term, because you can publish the patch notes ahead of time, but if players don't like the patch notes, you're seriously going to stop them from rolling out? Are you?
They ain't changing them.
It depends how far in advance they're planning to drop them as well. Like, if they're dropping these patch notes like months in advance, then they're not patch notes really. They're just ideas, right? They're just like, this is what we want to do. And if they're dropping them the day before,
it's a post-it note. It's a post-it note.
But that's what I'm saying. And if they're dropping them the day before or a couple days before or whatever, then there's not like, oh, we're gonna go and change this. No, you're not. It's done. It's ready. You just need to press a button now. You're not going to change that. So I think they need to find like a good medium of when to publish these patch notes to make it appropriate to incorporate player feedback on them. And I just don't know what that medium's going to be. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Well,
I do like the campfire chat. I do like the campfire chats, though. I think they're really good. The fact that they can just jump on a live stream.
As someone who has to write up the campfire chat stuff, I don't like it.
Is that the only reason you don't like it, though?
Yeah. It's
as
good
a
to
Diablo
put a face
4 player,
to the
isolated, like, forget this is your job for a minute. Just as a Diablo 4 player, what do you think of the campfire chats?
What other publisher goes on a live stream for an hour after an update and explains why they've done it and talks about the update?
And do you know what? I just love how confident and blasé they are. They're like, we've got a set built because we know we're going to be doing these campfire chats for the next like 5+ years or so. Like the cockiness of it. Like,
I mean,
we're going to dedicate a room to this
do
office.
Riot Please, which is like that type of thing where it's like an hour long and they talk about everything they've done and what their plans are for the future. But that happens once a year, and it's a specifically once a year scheduled thing, and that's the only time you get something like that out of Riot Games. So the fact that Blizzard, or more specifically Diablo team, are willing to put this effort in even after their first biggest update ever, like, is, I think, a really good sign.
I mean, guys, like, as I was hinting at earlier, like, this is just a season update. It happens every 3 months. And we know that they're working on 2 full paid-for expansions later down the line. So, like, typically in Diablo, when a new expansion comes, so does a new class. And that's going to tip the balance even more so. So they need to be careful going forward. But yeah, it's kind of cool how open they're being at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about the paid expansion, because I was just thinking then, the way you describe the different seasons, it's almost like they're handling each season as a DLC. The fact that like it's almost resetting everything and then you starting from scratch. It's almost like they are treating those as DLCs, and then they're going to have the seasons and there's going to be the DLC. So in the DLC, will they be treated like seasons? Do you think? Is that similar?
So like I said, the main difference is because seasonal updates is still the same map you're traversing, and it's changes to the map, right? So as as impactful as it can be, as many new bosses as it adds, and they still haven't said going forward actually whether or not the season content will be available in some sort of mode, like for out of season. Maybe not. It might be a case that they bring certain events back, like if they're popular enough, similar to what Destiny did. Yeah, if I had to liken it, Diablo 4 to any other game, actually, it probably would be Destiny. But obviously, they ended up wiping story content, which I'm not a fan of, to make way for new campaigns. Absolutely stupid, Bungie. As someone who likes game preservation. But to answer your question, Nathan, like expansions will typically take you to a different location entirely. Right. But having said that, like the whole appeal with Diablo 4 this time around is that the map's interconnected. So I can see them adding, like bolting on an extra part of the map that wasn't there before. And honestly, the fact that there's 2 full expansions in development alone is already significant, because Diablo 3 only ever had 1, Reaper of Souls. And that took you, I don't know, that was a good 8 to 10 hours of additional content. But I'd say they've got the resources to do it, because this game is printing money.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how many battle passes they've sold or whatever, but the fact that it's cosmetic only and the people are so invested, I think it's going to do well. Like, I just want to say, like, how many other games, like, because Fortnite's free to play, Rocket League's free to play, Diablo 4 they are selling at full price, and they've got a battle pass on the go.
That is
like,
insane to me.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Insane.
But
FIFA.
FIFA. Oh yeah, FIFA's doing it obviously
with loot boxes. Yeah.
But that is a testament to like how strong a foundation the game they've built. Like, this is a 5-star game I wrote in my review. So if you pay 70 quid for this game, you play 30 hours, you are not going to want your money back. Everything else is extra. So fair play to them. This could all very much go wrong, and there has been some server problems. I wish there was an offline only mode for that, because spoiler alert, servers will be going down tomorrow for 2 hours, 7 p.m. in the UK. When do most people finish work? 5. They want to go home and play Diablo, but they're not going to be able to. That sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some other stuff to move on to, but I just want to say hello to Scott, who's in the chat. Hi, Scott. He asks, anyone ever play Never Dead for the 360? Aaron, Jasmine?
No.
Can't say I have, but I've not even played Twisted Metal for the PS3, Scott. So what am I doing? I've heard of Never Dead.
I played Cameo, Scott, if that helps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. We were just having a look at each other's like gamer score and looking at
Xbox gaming history.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say this about Never Dead: it is the most 360th looking 360 game that ever lived. Third-person shooter, brown. You seem to play as a zombie. Wow. I'm actually gonna. I might pick this up and see if it's backwards compatible.
Are you able to share the screen?
Oh, that's a good question. Isn't it?
We had to I want to see how brown it is.
Yeah.
You want to see how brown this game is?
Yeah,
I mean, this was like 2000.
Brown game.
Actually, this game was 2012, so it shouldn't be too brown in theory. But
really?
Here we go. If somebody wants to use his computer again.
I'm using it. You just need to let in my screen. Okay. I'm sharing a window. There you go.
Oh yeah.
So do you see what I mean?
That's quite brown. Yeah, that's quite brown.
That's very brown.
That is like really brown.
Looks like Fallout a bit.
Yeah, it looks more brown. It looks more brown than Resistance 3, and that's saying something. Anyway, Jasmine,
they couldn't think of like any other colours, or
engine could only handle a set amount.
Yeah, they did not have access to a colour palette, did they? Absolutely not. I wanted to mention about the Battle Pass actually, because there's also been a bit of controversy around the fact that I haven't actually seen it. I've seen a video of it, but I haven't seen all the conjecture around it. But apparently, you can accidentally buy the Battle Pass because there's not a confirmation button.
Ooh,
so, like what Epic Games
what Fortnite got in trouble for.
How many millions or billions were they fined? Was it 200 million?
I think it was 250 million.
Around that. So apparently, you can buy a premium.
Were Fortnite as quick to respond as Activision Blizzard, though? Because it was like the day after, I swear.
Oh, 245 million.
Yeah. It was years, I think, Fortnite had that in the game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So that is now no longer the case.
Oh, in Diablo?
Yeah, you can't buy it accidentally.
I haven't seen anywhere saying that it's been fixed yet, but Activision Blizzard has said that they're looking into it.
They've acknowledged it already.
I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah.
That's really good compared.
I mean,
they've
got a stream coming up this Friday.
Shade.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. When you open yourself up to fan criticism to this degree, you've not got anything to hide behind, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But this is the thing as well, is that you build such a trusting relationship with the fans of your game, and if anything, it like one of the questions that we've got here is this going to drive people away from Diablo 4? And I think it will actually, in turn, once the issues are repaired, do the opposite and make people think, hey, I'm going to check that out because they fix their issues and stuff. Like someone who's a big fan of live service games, I am so used to teams just ignoring fan input and criticism. Yeah. So seeing that is like really refreshing. And I'm not going to say it's going to go make me play Diablo 4 because it's probably not, because You know,
When Diablo 4
I've
goes
got
on
my
sale,
issues.
Jasmine, come on. It's a fun
Mate,
They
if it
sale.
change
goes
the
on
color
sale-
palette though.
If it goes on sale, then I might think about it. But right now, I just can't justify spending that much money on a game that I know I'm not going to play
Yeah.
very much.
That's fair.
I think that's valid. And also, it's ugly. But anyway.
Oh, you had to get that little jab in there at the last minute, didn't you?
Wow. Do you think it will drive players away, these changes, Aaron, or do you think that the developers have got enough, the publishers have got enough of a trusted community base where they've come out and said, look, there won't be another update like this. I know you don't like it. Stay with us. Do you think that will impact player numbers at all?
I don't. It's interesting because, as I was saying earlier, people have already paid cold hard cash for the game. Like when you say drive away, the numbers could dip, but they've already got your money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it's different than a free to play game like Fortnite or Overwatch or whatever, where people are like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna go because that's what I've done with a lot of those titles.
And this is like the top end of the player base, the people that are putting hundreds of hours. And because there's like another complaint was like there was a treasure goblin glitch where their attack power was too heavy, and there were people that were taking their 100 level characters in hardcore mode, literally turned a corner, treasure goblin hit them, done instantly, progress lost, because that's what happens in hardcore mode. Like these are the sorts of players you attract. Like when you've had a series that's going as long as Diablo and a dedicated loyal fan base, like the only thing I could liken it to is World of Warcraft, really. I guess I don't know if Jasmine has much to say in terms of the League of Legends front, but Diablo 4 is almost like too big to fail. And I don't think, all right, your character class got nerfed, but you can still engage in the content. You can still run through. You still have that character there, providing you're not playing in hardcore. So I don't think it's going to drive players away. And like I said, they've been so communicative and open.
Yeah.
So yeah. Scott makes a good point in the chat, though, I think.
Yeah, Scott is in the chat again. Hi, Scott. Thanks so much for watching, mate. He says, Capcom fixed the Rashid issues in Street Fighter 6 in less than a day.
Capcom are a really good example of being open to like fan criticism and input. I think they're something that people should follow by, aside from with Exoprimal. Anyway.
Oh, Exoprimal hit 1 million. We were talking about it the other day. I know it's on Game Pass. That's why it did it. But, still impressive.
Absolutely. Diablo 4, £70. Worms Armageddon, 99p. Better game and looks better.
For a second then, I thought Nathan was going to go, Diablo 4, £70. Worms Armageddon, 99p pounds. The look on your face, the look on your friend's face when you kill, priceless. Like, I don't know if Jasmine's
Thank you for getting me that game, Scott. I really appreciate that.
Thanks,
for reference. Scott bought me Worms Armageddon before we went on the podcast. And
isn't Worms 3D the better game though on PS2? Like that was the game I had in my head. Like,
what was the one on the DS? That's the one I played.
Oh, here we go.
One on DS.
Worms. It was probably called Worms DS because every game was
just Worms DS. Yeah. Oh no,
Sounds
Worms Open Warfare, of course.
Ooh,
Worms Open Warfare. That is the best Worms game. No debate. No one can answer. I mean, no one can ask any questions because I'm not answering them. That's it.
Get that ported to Switch.
Scott is weighing in on this conversation. Worms 4 is the best 3D one because it has 3D levels in there too.
No, I hate all of the 3D ones. All of the 3D ones just don't hit the same as the 2D ones.
We need a live service Worms game. How about that?
We do.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Scott also says Armageddon better than Worms 2 on 360 is better than Worms 4 is better than Open Warfare 2. So that he's got a whole tier list for us in the chat.
I haven't played Armageddon, so let's see if this rings true. But the fact that Open Warfare 2 is at the end means that you're wrong. So we'll have to see. I'll update you guys in next week's
Worms Watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, join us next week for Worms Watch, everyone.
The podcast within a podcast, Worms Watch.
Absolutely. Callie's also in the chat. Hi, thanks so much for watching, Callie. They say, what is Project Q and why are you a hater? I think that's
funny
directed
you should
Jasmine.
say that.
Absolutely. Just on my line, Aaron. What are you
Sorry.
doing? Oh,
go on. Rewind.
He couldn't resist. No, talking of Project Q, which is the upcoming PlayStation 5 handheld. There's been a recent leak, ladies and gentlemen. The video posted by Twitter user @Zuby_tech shows the PlayStation handheld device turned on with someone navigating through the home screen and app pages with the device clearly running Android OS. No gameplay or cloud streaming is shown, so it's unclear how this will exactly take place, but it's worth keeping in mind that this video could be fake as well, as is the case with all leaks. Last month, Microsoft had a go at suggesting the price of Sony's unreleased device during its legal battle against the FTC. With the Microsoft Activision deal still awaiting completion, they stated that it expects Project Q to be under $300, which would be roughly £235 or 450 Australian dollars. If it runs Android, well, first of all, we've got a couple of questions. Why is this a bad thing, Jasmine?
Well, okay, here's the thing. Sony are charging, potentially, according to Microsoft, Sony will be charging $300-ish for this cloud streaming device. Right. Where else have we seen this before? The Logitech G Cloud, which sucks. It's bad, right? If on top of all of this, they couldn't even be bothered to develop their own OS for this system, that is just the worst look on top of what was already such a lazy device. They announced it without even having a real name for it. The reveal trailer was literally 5 seconds of footage of this device. We haven't seen anything else. We haven't got any more information other than from leaks, aside from this. And now it will be running potentially on Android OS. That I feel like it just contributes to this sort of this narrative of it being lazy and it being just poor decision after poor decision. I think one thing that would take this up a notch ever so slightly would be its own operating system. Running a handheld device dedicated for gaming, like the Steam Deck, for example, has Steam OS, and the whole point of Steam OS is that it makes it easier to navigate through your system, to play and launch games. Even Logitech G Cloud, it runs on Android as well, but it has its own UI to make it a bit easier too. From the footage we saw, there wasn't even a separate UI, there wasn't even a launch pad or anything. It was literally just it looked like you were just using an Android phone. It makes it seem even more worthless picking up this device for £300 when you could literally just use your Android phone and connect a controller to it or a backbone. It doesn't make sense to me, and I feel like this won't be the case. I feel like this is some type of early model where they haven't installed the UI properly, or they haven't installed whatever operating system they're planning on using properly. So I am really, really, really keeping my fingers crossed that Sony rectify whatever this issue is, because this is just a nightmare on top of what was already a nightmare of a device, on top of what Aaron said that he would only pay £60 for at most for this device. And now it comes out that
justifying my comments again by not having a bespoke UI. Do you know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying. It's just making it seem worse and worse and worse, because PlayStation Remote Play is a thing. You can play games from your PlayStation streamed onto your mobile phone, Android and Apple.
Now.
So
you can do it right now if you want to.
Yeah, right now. That's not something you have to wait for. That's already been out.
Yeah.
That's been out since PlayStation 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's been a thing for years that you can already do. And the majority of people already own a phone, right? You just pick up your phone. You start playing.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
If you want to go and get a controller for said phone, you can do that. A backbone will set you back less than £100. There's stuff like the Razer Kishi, which is probably £40 for Android. These things are so much cheaper than however much Project Q is going to come out at. So why would anyone pick up Project Q? I'm still struggling so hard to understand. This is exactly the same thing I said when they announced it, the exact same thing I said when Microsoft predicted the price of it, and now the same thing again. Who is this for? Who is buying this? Who is actually buying this?
Do we think the leak is correct? Are we all three of us in agreement that it's probably likely to run Android? Is that what we're saying?
I feel like it probably will, but I'm really hanging on to this hope that it's not. I'm going to say I'm 60-40. 60 that it will run Android and 40 that it won't. And if it runs Android, I am like 90% sure they'll have some type of like Launchpad UI or something, because there's no way you're unlocking your Project Q and it just opens up like a bloody Google Pixel. There is no way that is happening. Come on, let's be for real for a minute.
Yeah.
So I am really unsure still. Maybe I just don't want to admit it. Maybe that's what it is.
Aaron,
But what do you think?
Are you in agreement, Aaron?
I'm in total agreement. To be honest, I don't know why this thing exists, because it's basically a glorified screen with a DualSense slapped on either side. The fact that anyone would even consider paying over £150 for this is a joke, if you ask me. I don't care how nice the screen is. It's not even a QLED screen, is it? Is it an
It's
OLED
not.
screen?
It's only 1080p.
That's what I mean. Like, and Jasmine keeps saying, like, who is this for? The only thing I can think of in my head is for people that want to obviously play first-party PlayStation games on the go. But Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart released today on Steam. You can play that on Steam Deck now. You can play
Steam
God of War
Deck
2018
But you can't
on
use
Steam
this
Deck.
thing on the go. You can't use this thing on
No,
the go. You
what-
need
in your-
Wi-Fi.
In your house, yeah, I know it's a stream
On the
machine.
go in your house. What are you
That's
saying?
where I play. That's where I play my handheld devices, Jasmine. You might not want to admit it, but I play them in the house so I can watch TV. As
Yeah,
I
but
play.
you just said on the go. You just said on the go.
on the go in my
the
house. In my
On the
house.
go.
On
in
the
your
way
house.
to get a cup of tea. on the way back.
Oh, yeah, exactly that. So, I mean, otherwise, like, what's the point? Like,
But even that,
$200,
people
are
can
you-
play $300, which is £235. Even that's insane to me, because you can just use your phone. I can literally, if I want to play on the go in my house, when I'm walking to my kitchen to get a cup of tea or whatever Aaron's situation is of how he plays games remotely, I've got a phone. I can just literally hold my phone and like play games on it. And then like, if it's that bad, I can connect a Bluetooth controller and there you go. There are even controllers you can get which literally have like SteelSeries have one where you can just connect your phone to the top here and then you can have your phone like that if it's like so important to you that you don't want to like hold both of them or whatever. There's Backbone, which connects to either side of your phone, and then that looks exactly like Project Q, and it has a PlayStation edition now, so you can have the PlayStation buttons on it if that's what's so important to you, right? The only thing that's setting this apart right now from a mobile phone with a portable controller on it is the haptic triggers. And do you know what the haptic triggers are? Bad. Anyway. Like, games aren't utilizing haptic triggers anyway. This is a whole discussion that we had a while ago. Games aren't utilizing haptic triggers anyway. So, like, why would I pay $300 for that? For them not to use it?
We're saying we're not a fan, right? All three. I'm firmly in agreement.
I'm not even not a fan. I'm a hater. I'm an active hater.
I think it will be at least the price that we're talking about. I think potentially even more, because I know.
Well, Microsoft said that it'd be under $300.
Under $300
was their prediction.
Okay. Well, how much is the DualSense Pro?
£209.99.
Okay, it's probably going to be that. It's probably going to be that price.
I think it'll be a bit more than that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think it'll be more than that.
So we're not a fan. We're in agreement. But will it be a success?
No.
Will other people
because who's it
wanna
for?
buy it?
Who's it for? Who would buy it?
The
Let's have a
PS2
think.
wasn't a success.
Let's all think. Who would buy it? Who would buy this? Let's think of.
So everyone brainstorm. Everyone give me one example of one person that'd buy this thing. I promise you. People in the comments as well. You won't be able to do it. You won't.
Someone
you won't be able to
who
give an
wants
example.
to play first-party PS5 exclusives in their house whilst watching TV, but cannot
Who doesn't
be bothered
have a phone?
to buy a Steam Deck, and
Who don't
doesn't
have a phone?
Well, they can't play PS5 games on their phone, can they? Remote play? They can.
Yeah. PS Remote Play.
Yeah.
So,
Right, well, it's got a nicer
someone who
screen,
doesn't
I
have a phone,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to buy a Steam Deck, who wants to play PS5
Which is only like
games,
£100 more than this thing will be.
wants to play PS5 games whilst also watching TV.
Whoever wants to play Deathloop, but when they reload their gun, can feel the bullets go back into the chamber.
Oh,
that
right. You got me
pseudo-
now. You got me. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm with
what about if you've got a silly little phone that's not powerful enough to stream PlayStation games, and you don't want to buy a new phone? That might be cheaper than buying a phone, no?
Well, no, because with that money, you could go and buy yourself a refurbished phone, which is going to be much higher specification than that, and it's a phone. It's not just like a device to play PlayStation games on. It will also do other things, like you can use social media and make phone calls and have a camera. Like, it has so many other things on your phone as well. And phones aren't too expensive anymore when you're getting them secondhand or refurbished. And I'm a big fan of secondhand market with everything, hardware, software, everything. So go and do that instead, please. Guys, if you don't have a phone that you can use PS Remote Play on, right, instead of investing your hard-earned money on this device, put it towards getting a new phone. I promise you.
Or a Steam Deck.
Or a Steam Deck.
Throw away your Nokia 3310 and upgrade to a Google Pixel 2.
Don't
and
get
then
a Google Pixel.
You can stream. Oh yeah, because
This episode of the walkthrough is sponsored by. No, it's not.
No, don't get a Google Pixel. But if you want to get a Google Pixel, that is
get
your
a grown-up device.
Thank you, Nathan.
What's the
I'm
best
glad that you're with me
Android
on that.
phone on the market, Jasmine?
Let's not go.
I think that it depends on what your needs
Don't
are.
say
I'm
the
not gonna-
Samsung Galaxy.
I'm not going to start talking about that. I know I really don't like the Samsung Galaxy. So let's. But if we start talking about Android phones, I'll be here for ages. I think Google Pixel is a solid phone. As long as your speakers aren't minging and broken, so when you try to show your friends videos, they can't hear them.
Wow. Maybe the friend needs to check their earring. Earring.
Earrings. Does that affect it? Does that affect it?
I think so.
Earrings.
Yeah.
No.
Affects
That's a
the
factor.
it
It affects the sonic flow through the air.
Right. I see.
Okay.
We've got a couple of comments. We've got Naren in the chat. Hi, Naren. Thank you so much for watching. She says everyone should just buy a Steam Deck to game and watch telly at home on the go from the sofa. That's exactly what we're saying. Glad you're in agreement with us.
I'm not a big fan
Adamel,
of the Steam Deck, but even I agree with that.
yeah,
so.
absolutely. Adamel's also in the chat with the /hi all like in Reddit.
Hello,
or
Adamel.
something.
You missed
Hi,
the
Adamel.
remake debate at the beginning of this.
Oh,
podcast,
Adam,
actually.
we'll
So
get back into it. I'm sure.
yet
at some
again,
point.
he's going to have to rewatch the start of the
Yeah,
stream. You know what I
I
mean?
know,
He's
he
got
just
not
comes at the
timing
wrong
isn't the best.
Yeah. So Project Q is here, right? It's not going to change. It's going to
Is
be.
it? It's not released it yet.
No, as in it's coming. We know it's coming.
How
right?
do you know
gonna
it's
be-
coming? They could be listening to this podcast right now and going, "Do you know what? We should cancel it." And I hope they are.
Okay.
Sony, listen. I'm
As much
telling
as
you right
we-
now.
as
Poor
much as-
business decisions.
We so let's say we don't all have a god complex, and Sony aren't watching this, and they are going to release it later this year, right?
Yeah.
It's already set in stone. It's going to be a Wi-Fi device. Why are they doing this? If they know that people aren't going to buy it, why are they doing it? Surely somewhere someone's gone, this is a great idea because X. Why are they doing this? Have we got a? Do we?
I think
can we
they
think
just
of something?
want to get their hats in to this handheld market right now that is like booming. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch happened. That was like, okay, that's Nintendo. Nintendo have always been there with handheld devices since day one. The Nintendo Switch is the best handheld gaming device. If you're not looking to play like specifically PC games or whatever, like that is the best handheld gaming device, and it's so cheap. It's cheaper than how much Project Q is predicted to be.
Yes.
And then they saw, okay, the Steam Deck came out. This was another like, okay, is this a one-off? Is this just like a one-time thing? Valve really heavily subsidized it. Are we going to lose money if we do this? But then it was really successful. Out of stock everywhere for
were
years.
looking. They were like, how can we screw this up? Yeah.
Logitech
Keep
were
an eye
like,
on our channels for that. by the way.
Logitech were like, oh yeah, do you know what would be great if we did it too, and it just like sucked, right? So then that's what they did, and Sony saw that, and Sony were like, oh my god, Logitech did that, and it sucked so bad. I want to do the same thing. Whoa, let's do the exact same thing,
yeah,
and that's exactly what they've done. That's what they've done.
It's
the same. It's the same price. It's the same price as the Logitech G Cloud predicted, and it does the exact same thing. It's just cloud gaming over Wi-Fi. There's no support for 4 or 5G, which would, I think, if that was the case, we'd be having a different conversation. If either of these devices could support 4 or 5G, this would be a whole different thing, because then it'd be like, okay, this is for people who want to game on the go, and then you can stick a SIM card in there and have like solid internet access, because 4 and 5G coverage around the UK right now, I don't know about elsewhere, is really solid. You can get it in the majority of places except in my house for some reason, which is great. But that's not the case. It's Wi-Fi only, and I just feel like public Wi-Fi, typically you can't even watch like YouTube videos and stuff on it.
It's unsecure as well. I mean,
Yeah, you always get these alerts when you're connecting to public Wi-Fi on like a train or something, for example, that is like, this is for browsing emails only, because they have so many people connected to it that they just don't have the bandwidth to provide you access to stream an entire game from your PS5. Do you know what I mean? And
But
because
why-
it's cloud gaming, I'm assuming your PS5 is going to have to be left on at home. Like
Yes.
PS5s aren't already like consuming so much energy and driving up your power bill. You don't have to leave it at home when you're not there. God, it's just like problem after problem.
Yeah, but surely Sony has seen the Logitech Cloud and seen it. What has made them look at the Steam Deck, look at the Ally, look at the G Cloud, look at the Switch, and go, okay, I know, we'll go the Logitech G Cloud route. Why would they?
I think they just didn't. What I'm feeling like is that they were in a bit of a rush, which is why they announced it before they even had a real name for the device. They announced it
Makes
under
sense.
Project Q. They didn't even say, "Oh yeah, this is what it's going to be called," or whatever. They just said internally, "We're calling it Project Q." So that's like, okay, so you don't have a real name for it yet, and you're announcing it to the public. Isn't that a bit fishy and weird? You know,
And it's
like,
literally just a DualSense controller with the screen on as well.
Yeah,
It does
and,
feel
like,
very like Lego.
They just rushed it, and I think this is the best they could do in the time that they set themselves for this project. And I just think they would have been better not entering the handheld space at all, and then next year coming out with some type of PlayStation Portable, next
Vita
gen, some type of PS Vita, like, because those devices were really good and like were literally battling the Nintendo DS back in the day. I remember when I got my Nintendo DS, and my mum was like, "Are you sure you want a DS and you don't want a PSP?" And I was like, "Yeah, obviously." But the fact that was even a question back then means that Sony are up there to be able to compete with the likes of the Nintendo Switch right now. You know, like they can do
Yeah.
it. They've got the resources to do
But
it. They
w-
just
but
don't
the
want to invest the time.
The problem that PlayStation have is that they don't want to do the PSVR 2 route and develop bespoke software for this thing, right? Where Nintendo and Steam have been clever is that it runs the same games. They tackle the situation very differently in that the Nintendo Switch software is underpowered, comparatively, because Nintendo has the first party horsepower to be able to support that. Whereas PlayStation, my former title underneath Diablo Tormentor was Resident Sony Pony, but I've still said countless times that the first party PlayStation train is slowing down fast. They're only putting out one proper first party game this year, and that's Marvel Spider-Man 2. So you think they want to divide their teams? There are masses of teams into developing something specific for this? No. But I agree with Jasmine. They should have found a way to run PlayStation 5 games natively at low end settings would have been the best solution, but they obviously don't want to put in the R&D required.
And if they didn't want to do that, then they shouldn't have done anything at all. They should have just left the device as an idea. They should have just left that napkin that they drew it on in whatever coffee shop it was in there and put it in the bin. It shouldn't have been announced. I just feel like it's damaging Sony's reputation more so this year, considering that they don't have a lot of first party titles going out. So they have a lot of their resident Sony ponies like jumping ship and going, okay, let's see what Starfield's about, and the fact that they're even losing players in that way, this is only going to contribute to that further. People are going to be like, okay, I've got this massive trust in Sony. The PS5 is a sick device. Even PSVR 2, which didn't get as many sales, I think that was more to do with the price point rather than the actual device itself.
And the economy, in this economy.
Exactly. The device itself, I reviewed it. It is absolutely fantastic. The only issue I had with it was that it literally cost more than the PS5 itself, which I know was also the case with PSVR 1, but I don't know, I just feel like if you're going to release a device like that, you have to be willing to subsidize a little bit in the current economy, like Meta are doing, like Valve is doing with the Steam Deck. Sony aren't really willing to do that. So
the reason the original PSVR sold so well is because the Meta Quest didn't exist, and it was the cheapest, most accessible way to experience VR other than Oculus and hit the HTC
now you can
Vive.
pick up a Meta Quest for like 300 quid. Meta Quest 2 is 300 quid. And you
Meta
access
might
a whole
not
library of games.
Meta might not be able to decide on the price of the thing, and it might go up and down every 5 months or so, but for the most part, it's cheaper than PSVR 2. And obviously, you don't have to buy in £500 for a console as well. So.
Yeah.
I feel
Adam
like
Allen,
go on.
Adam Allen in the chat says, can we make sure Jasmine does a full review on Project Q?
I absolutely will be doing a full review of Project Q. If Sony will
and
let
she's
me.
going to hate it the entire time.
There will also be a Logitech G Cloud review at some point as well, which Adam, you will not want to miss, I'm sure. Just to play devil's advocate, this is a spicy show, right? I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I'm Sony.
Okay,
PSP
nice to meet you, Sony.
Hello, nice to meet you too. The PSP was native, ran native games with a disc
Yes,
in.
it did.
The PS Vita was a native games console, ran disc in. Neither were a success.
I would say the PSP was a relative
The PSP
success.
was a success. The
Comparatively
PSP
to
was
the
definitely a success.
When we're talking about Sony, though, was it as big as a success as their consoles? Was it worth them doing it?
It wasn't. It didn't have as much market share as the Nintendo DS, if you're going to put it that way. Like DS won that battle. Yeah.
But there
So
you
why
go.
would
That's
they
just
put
because
that-
the competition was there. If all they're going to do is react to
competition's
competition,
here
react to
now.
competition. Okay, this
The
is what
Steam
I'm,
Deck's
this is what
here
I'm saying.
now.
This is what I'm saying.
Sorry.
If all they're going to do is react to competition and react to competition and not innovate themselves, then don't bother. Don't. Because this is the thing that they've learned with the PSP, right? Is that they brought out the PSP. It was a great device, but it didn't beat out the Nintendo DS. Okay, now the Steam Deck is here. The Asus ROG Ally is here. The Nintendo Switch are here. There are already 3 massive devices in the handheld gaming space. The Asus ROG Ally maybe not as much since it's newer, but the Steam Deck and Nintendo Switch are definitely so. Massive giants in the handheld gaming space, right? Why are you trying to compete with them if you just like aren't willing to put in the R&D? What are you doing? What are you hoping to get out of it? Because
did you want an answer from it? Because I'm supposed to.
Because you're Sony.
Yeah, Sony. Yeah.
Go on, Sony. What are you hoping to get out of this? What's the plan?
I want to just try. Maybe there's a few people that will buy it because they think it's native, and then they'll get a nasty surprise.
Right. So
when
you're
it comes through the
scamming
door.
people. Is the plan?
No.
You're hoping to sell 3 devices because people will pick it up by mistake.
Genuinely, it just sounds like Sony have seen this trend, like you just said. Sony have seen the trend of handhelds and gone, okay, what is the easiest way to get involved in the market with minimal effort? Just put ourselves in there. Oh, look, this is our handheld offering. We do handhelds too, without really trying to be like, they're almost like they know that they're not going to be the main players in the market. They just want to be involved, is what it seems like to me. God, that was nice just to not be Sony for a minute then. Yeah.
But just being involved, what's it going to get them? I'm really struggling to understand. Being involved is doing nothing positive for them. It's tarnishing their reputation. It's destroying them. Because even if they decided, okay, we're going to start putting in R&D, let's say they're behind. They decided it this year. They've seen the Asus ROG Ally come out. They're like, we're going to start putting R&D into a dedicated handheld gaming console to natively run PS5 games. Even if they started the R&D now, within 4-5 years' time, they could have a device, probably even quicker than that if they really, really wanted to pump into it. They could have a device that would completely blow away the market, right? If anything, I think they should have started R&D on this device when the Nintendo Switch came out, because now they could have been bringing out a device to compete with whenever the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out this year, next year, the year after. They could have brought out a device at the same time as that to compete with that. Why have they not been doing that?
How long did you say that Asus had been working on the ROG Ally? Or did they say?
In the preview event, they said it was 9 years.
Exactly.
So that takes us back to 2013-14.
Prior to the release of the Switch. But
exactly.
like Valve are losing money on Steam Decks, right? And I feel like PlayStation don't want to sell another device at a loss because they sell PS5s at a loss.
Then don't even bother. Just don't even bother.
I agree. It's the laziest route, and they're trying to. Honestly, guys, I'm still in that mindset where it's like, surely everybody inside PlayStation is saying the same things we are. Why the hell would you release
this is an
thing?
April Fool's prank?
I'm waiting for him to say, "Forget Project Q." Just it didn't
Project
exist.
question mark.
But this is the thing: is that there's nothing wrong with companies backpedaling on these announcements and stuff, especially when people aren't excited for them. If they had a massive following that I was like, yeah, we can't wait for Project Q, and then they backpedaled on it, that would be quite upsetting. And but no one is excited for this. If you look at the comments on their announcement video, I don't know if you guys have done that. Look at the comments on the trailer for Project Q. It is embarrassing. It is really, really upsetting. So no one is looking forward to this. No one is excited about this. There's nothing wrong with backpedaling. There really isn't. We've seen Xbox delay game after game after game for the past 3 years. Like, there's nothing wrong with
Trust
you guys
me, I know.
unreleasing a device. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that they don't want to look as bad as Microsoft or whatever, but been there, done that. We're used to it now. Just take a step back and look at what you're doing and unrelease Project Q for my sanity, please. Like, I'm begging.
Unrelease it. They haven't released it yet.
Unannounce it.
Can't-
Delete the
Unannounced.
trailer from
Unannounced.
YouTube.
Yeah, just
delete the
forget about
trailer from
it.
YouTube
But
and pretend
It's a
it never
fever dream.
happened.
It was a fever
but
dream, yeah.
Adam L has got an answer to your question from earlier, Jasmine, I think.
Yeah.
If Nathan wants to read
No,
it.
go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, okay. Project Q does have a selling point, though, says Adam L. The kid whose PS5 is on the living room TV and dad comes home and puts the footy on, it's football day. The kid
Football
can
day.
still play. That very one specific case.
That is a very
scenario.
good. That is very Adam.
No,
thank you
Who's
so
gonna
much.
pay
but this is the
$300
thing.
to let their kid play while
Even
TV's on?
that, right? What kids like
Phone.
this? You've described an iPad kid, right? You described an iPad kid. Do you know what they can do on their iPad? PlayStation Remote Play.
Oh yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying.
True. Yeah, that's
So
true.
even that
Yeah.
kid,
But it does look
even-
cooler though, doesn't it? The Project Q does look cooler than an iPad.
does it? Kids don't
Yeah.
care if it looks cooler than an iPad because the iPad's bigger. You know,
Yeah,
they
I
can pick
suppose.
their nose and put it on the screen or whatever.
Hold the
kids do
thought.
with their
Adam,
iPads.
Adam has got another situation here. He says also, if you're in the middle of an intense game of Call of Duty, but nature is calling, you can continue slaying noobs on the
Oh,
toilet.
come on, Adam. Do what the rest of us do. Do what the rest of us are doing for years and just hold it. Grow up.
Wait until you're back in the lobby.
Grow up,
God,
Adam.
grow up.
Yeah. Also, the input delay over
I was just gonna say
Wi-Fi
this.
would be horrendous for Call of Duty. If
Yeah.
anyone is playing Call of Duty on the Project Q, they might.
That's going to be the new diss. So, like, oh, you
Do
playing
we
on Project
know-
Q, mate?
Do we know if Project Q has an Ethernet port? Is
I
what we're
don't think
asking.
it does. I don't
know.
think it does. The leaked device, the
That'd
video
be
of the
stupid
leak
though, wouldn't it?
showed the device
Why?
like all of it. It didn't have an Ethernet
Yeah.
port, and then the announcement trailer didn't have one either. And
Yeah.
obviously their inspiration didn't have one either. So we'll
Yeah.
wait and see.
Inspiration. Yeah. We've got
Is
a
there
couple of other comments. Sorry. We've got a couple
just-
of other comments in there. Got JD in the chat. Hi JD, thank you so much for watching. They say PSP was brill. Absolutely,
Yeah,
I've
it
got a
was. It
PSP.
absolutely was.
Yeah, it
Right
was.
behind me. Yeah. PSP was treated so well. How Sony could just diminish support for the Vita was just terrible. Agreed. Absolutely. Sorry, Aaron, you were
Because
saying-
it didn't play Universal Media Discs. That's why the PS Vita failed. But
Yeah.
no, it was literally just is the Logitech G Cloud? Is it out? And do we know how well it's doing?
It's out. It's been out in America since
And then
last
just crickets.
September. And then
Flip me.
it released in the UK a few months ago. And every
Where have you
single
been,
review
Aaron?
I've seen has been
In
bad.
Diablo land, mate. That's where
My
I've been.
review will be bad. Spoiler alert, my review is going to be bad for this device. It's not going to be great. And that's about all we've seen. Like, there's not been any other follow-up from it. I think
That
Logitech
game looks great.
released it and left it.
It won't play. It won't look or play like that.
There is not any ports on there, Aaron. Just from what I can see,
Oh,
there's
right.
no ports on it. Like, it's
You
just
can't even
What about,
charge
like,
it. It's a
underneath
one-time
the-
use. You can't even charge it. You pick it up, you use it once, you chuck it in the bin.
Oh, was that a little port there on the back that I saw? I'm gonna just try scrubbing. No, it was just
No.
a screen. I can't see anything.
This is
There's
like
no
proof of
room at the
concept.
bottom.
This
That's
ain't
a
final
screen. isn't it?
design. No way. Anyway, so
That's not a final design.
nah, it can't be.
I also
Surely not.
just want to. I also just want to say as well. I think this could be really interesting, just to take the conversation in a new direction. But Insider Gaming first broke the story like ages ago about this, and their article stated that the Q, it was nicknamed the Q Lite internally. Is this the
Light
light
on features.
version? Well, yeah, but is
But
this
why
the
would they bring out the light version
version
before they brought out the Q version?
But
Unless
is
the
Let's
this-
be for
Q
real
is
for
a,
a minute.
is a code name for PS5 Slim. I don't know. Maybe.
what?
So you think this is the light version of the PS5 Slim?
I don't know. I do not know what this is, guys. Because I ain't
Could there
buying
be
it.
a Q? Could there be just a PlayStation Q that is a handheld, dedicated handheld, but they're just not? that it's taking so long. They want to perfect it. Oh, we haven't got it quite right. We don't want to release it. I'll tell you what, let's do a Q Lite. Let's get that out there.
Oh, so
and
they
then-
had the thought process that stuff isn't going to work and that stuff is bad, but then they
No.
announced that.
Maybe they've been working on it for 15 years and then still.
God
not happy with
forbid
it.
they've been working on
And they're
that
like-
for 15 years, mate.
No,
God.
maybe they've got a Q that's a handheld gaming device that's dedicated. Maybe they've
Yeah.
been working on it for years and they're not happy. And they're like, okay, we need to launch something. What's the easiest thing we can launch? Yeah.
But they don't
And then
need to
there's a queue.
launch anything. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is that like if they were really scrambling and they were like, we need to get this out, I think they just need to acknowledge that they didn't need to bring anything out. No one was begging them to release a handheld device. The handheld devices that we have on the market at
Yeah.
the minute are
Yeah.
perfectly acceptable. And like Aaron was saying, a lot of PS5 exclusives are now slowly creeping their way onto PC, and you can play them on a Steam Deck, and
Yeah.
the cheapest Steam Deck comes in at 370 odd quid.
Yeah.
Why would you get this where you need to be potentially tethered to your Ethernet cable if it has an Ethernet port to be able
I
to
No
can't-
way
play?
it's gonna have an Ethernet port.
I can't believe that it's not an OLED screen, like for the price.
At the
that
bare
they want for
minimum,
it. At
right, they
least,
should
yeah.
be pushing the fact that
The
it's got a
Vita
display on
had
it.
an OLED screen, guys, and that was the joke when the Nintendo Switch OLED model came out. It was like PS Vita did this 2012. So, literally, they're going backwards. Jim Ryan, have a word with
So
yourself.
the Project Q official specifications it's a 1080p 60 FPS display
I'm out.
for cloud gaming with a 60. It's a normal LCD 8-inch screen. It's
And then
it's
what?
just a screen.
That's it. You've just
It's just
described
a
the
screen.
screen because that's
Yeah.
all the specs that's in it.
Yeah, that's literally so. Okay, at what price is this viable?
feel like
It's
I'm
not
having-
viable at any price.
At
It's
all?
not viable.
No price at all.
50
No.
quid, I'd pick it up for 50 quid. Genuinely.
You would.
That's so much. It's an empty shell for 50 quid just to play on
But
my
why
sofa
would you
while I
do
watch
that?
stuff. Just to have her in the house. Like I could play God of War wherever I want. In bed. Just like Nathan does with his Steam Deck.
You can do that on your
plays Elden
phone.
Ring.
I don't do it anymore because I haven't got
Because
it.
you... Oh.
Oh, I've got
yeah.
Nathan's Steam Deck.
But
Well, that's not
I-
Nathan's Steam. That's the
I
Mirror
thought you were gonna
Gaming
say-
Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's the
Anymore.
official.
I thought you were going to say you didn't do it anymore because you've beat Elden Ring now.
I have beaten Elden Ring actually. Yeah, thank you.
But he
thank
still
you.
wants it back
Yep.
to play it
Beaten
again.
Elden Ring.
But this is
No,
the
I
thing,
don't-
right? Here's what Adam L says. Maybe it's designed for those who live in a caravan / motorhome and have no space for a TV. Right, Adam.
What are you buying a PlayStation?
Adam, are you listening? You need a PlayStation to stream the
Yeah.
game. Why do you own a PlayStation with no TV? Just so you can use Project Q. Are you listening? There's flaws in every single use case you can come up for it. I promise there's
Yeah,
a flaw. There's
yeah.
not a single use case where this thing is like, yeah, that's all right. None.
Are we just going to skip over the fact that the first time JD and Sinner watched Goodfellas, it was on PSP?
I
we gonna let that go?
understand what that even means.
Well,
Like-
if you remember, like the discs, because that was the
I
thing
never
about
had
PSP. Okay, I had a UMD disc. I could run and go grab it,
Hang
really.
on, I've got one here.
Have you got one?
Yeah, so this is it.
Well, yeah, if you open the slot at the top there, you'll see there's something you can slot an actual disc in. It's not a cartridge-based system.
So-
And then
right.
they released movies as well as games, and I had Dodgeball
That's so sick.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Pool 2 on PSP, and I was
That's
like, watch
so
it.
sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine
Oh my
that
god,
these
I
days.
never knew that. I never knew
What?
that. I never knew
What?
that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's an inside joke. I'm pretty sure I watched movies on it as well.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, we all did. We all did.
My
Episode
aunt
1
had
to
one,
3 of
and
season
my
1 of
mum
Lost.
Oh.
my mum was so adamant on me getting one. She's like, "Get a PSP. Your aunt's got one. You guys can play on it together." And I was like, "No, I want a DS." And
Oh.
I'm glad I got a DS instead. I am. I'm glad.
Didn't you want to
because
play
I
Final
think-
Fantasy VII Crisis Core as well?
Yeah, she said I wasn't allowed to because she said that it was a game for adults. She said Final Fantasy was for grown-ups. It was not. It was not for grown-ups. It was a kids' game. Oh
Callie's way behind. It isn't a standalone device. Sorry.
no!
what?
You need to. It's cloud gaming only,
It's
Callie.
streaming only, yeah.
It's cloud gaming
need a
only, and you
PlayStation
need a
5.
PlayStation 5, and your PlayStation 5 needs to be left on. So this is what I'm saying. Aaron's
Whoa,
saying,
within
oh,
Wi-Fi distance
Aaron's
as well
saying,
to stream
oh
the game.
yeah, I'm gonna play mine.
Right. Actually,
In my house, you're gonna leave your
I would.
PlayStation on in the
Yeah,
living
yeah, yeah.
room and sit in your bedroom and play Project Q.
Imagine this. This is a use
Imagine
case
what?
where I would use
This is
it.
a
This
use
is what I
case,
would
here
pay
we go.
50 quid for. Diablo 4. Cannot play it on a Steam Deck because it goes through BattleNet. And
Right.
even if I did, it's always online. So that would be an ideal game to play on this thing in my house because you've all played Diablo. It's got a grindy based game. Like usually I'll listen to a podcast when I have it on. That is the one scenario, like realistically, that I would pay 50 quid for this thing for, is to play Diablo 4.
Would you pay £300 for this
No, I wouldn't, Jim
Okay,
Ryan.
good.
Look at me. I ain't paying it. You can send me one. I can play Diablo 4, but I ain't paying it. Yeah.
Naren's still here. Thank you so much for watching our mumblings about the Project Q. Naren says the PSP was amazing, but the charger was a brick. Yeah, I remember that actually. I wanted to put my back out carrying it around in a rucksack for a weekend, but I was able
it that
to watch
bad?
I was able to watch the entire series of Firefly on it while on holiday. Yeah, that's why it was so great. Aaron is going
Watching
to get his
movies
PSP,
on it
guys.
sounds sick. Like
Yeah,
that
it
sounds
was
so
genuinely.
cool.
I can't remember where I put.
But then you need to carry around the discs with you, right?
Yeah.
How big
yeah,
are the
that's it.
discs?
I can't remember where I put.
Right,
the
he's got his
discs.
whole case. He's got all the, he's got everything.
Oh my god! So
Don't.
many
A
backpack
ponies.
like this.
There's so many
Don't.
ponies here.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Can you show me the charger, please?
Oh, I don't know if it's in the case, unfortunately. It might be.
You've got
it
a
is.
case like that, and you've got
With no charger in it. That is minging. That is minging. That is huge.
This was
That is-
2006, Jasmine. What did
The
you
DS
want?
charger wasn't that big. I've still got my
Yeah.
DS charger downstairs, and it's just a little plug and then a long
Just a little
wire.
cable,
It's
yeah.
not like that. Oh my god.
What?
What? I never knew that. I never knew that. What?
It doesn't get any less funny. That's the thing. And then just to show Jasmine,
Have you got the discs? I want to see how big the discs are.
So this
Oh,
is
he's
the
got
Oh, there's a
thing.
little.
He's got
This
a
is
disc,
it.
yeah.
But get this. I remember my cousin got a PSP for Christmas, and his mum wasn't the brightest, bless him. And she was like, I tried for ages getting the disc out of this white little thing. And I'm like, no, you leave it in. And then,
no.
yeah. But anyway.
So-
Can you boot,
but then
can you
you'd
boot
have to
something up now? That'd be quite interesting.
It's not going to have charge on it, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I bought this on Facebook Marketplace for 20 years ago. It's not for 20 quid. It's not my
For
original
20 years
PSP.
ago?
For 20
So,
20 quid?
Yes,
For 20
bargain, isn't
quid?
it? And a bunch of
Oh, he
things.
kept that one on wraps, didn't he? He didn't tell anyone about that.
I'd have been offering 25 to the same seller.
I would have been there with 30, mate. I would have been there with my 30.
35.
It needs a new screen in it because it's like got a green line down it. I was planning on fixing it. But yeah, no charge, guys, unfortunately. Maybe I should charge it now, and by the end of the podcast, that could be the big finish.
There you go. There you go. Pop it on. Pop it on. Adam L's saying again, what if you want to play multiplayer games, but your little brother keeps screen watching on split screen? One play on Project Q and the other play
That's
on
not
TV.
how it works, Adamel, because you need to use the PlayStation to stream it to the Project Q.
Adamel, I
Oh
admire
my
his determination.
God. You're not listening, Adam. You're not listening. You need to
So
use
what-
the
what is
PlayStation to
shown-
stream it.
Yeah,
So you can't you can't play two like different things at the same time on either device. The
Yeah,
only
so
thing
what's
I thought
showing
when they
on the-
first announced it
Yeah.
was I was like, oh, this is going to be like the Wii U. This is going to be like the Wii U for
Right.
PlayStation, right? It's not. Because you can't use it like that. It's only cloud
So
gaming.
what's showing on the PlayStation 5, the output, that's what will be on the PlayStation
Yeah.
2, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
So
Naren
there you
also
go.
says Aaron is
Another
now-
use case debunked. Anyway, sorry.
There you go. Sorry, Adam. We really appreciate these creative chats
Yeah.
around what potentially it could be, but you're really like there's no
You
no
have
point.
to go bottom of the barrel for it, though.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you doing that.
Oh, burnout.
Why is the case so big? It's like the Nintendo Switch,
They are
but the
quite
cases
big,
are massive and the cartridge is like that big.
Look at this.
Oh, that's sick. That's actually sick. I really want one now. Shall
Are
I
you
go
going to
on Facebook
become a
Marketplace?
PSP collector?
Let's go on
see if you
Facebook
get one for
might.
20
Marketplace.
quid.
Let's go and get one. Let's go and get one.
I'm on Facebook
Now,
Marketplace right now.
While you
I
do
don't know
that,
how-
I'm going to read some comments out.
Okay.
Naren says, Aaron is now officially my favourite. Yeah, he's all our
Can't
favourites.
believe this, Naren.
He's all our
Can't believe
favourites. Callie says, I'm slightly too young to remember the PSP, but I remember loving my brother's Vita. Bring that back. Yeah, that.
Do you want me to go get my Vita as well?
You have a Vita
That's
too.
another podcast. Yeah, of course.
Go on,
Oh,
go on.
Man of the
God.
people.
Go on.
All right.
I can hold down the fort. But the Callie said for £300, throw it in the bin.
That's what I'm
That's
saying,
what-
Callie. You get it.
what
You
we're
get
saying.
it.
That's what we're saying. I think you wouldn't, no matter what the price is, you wouldn't buy it. You're adamant, Jasmine.
No,
No
I
matter
wouldn't.
what, even if it's 20
Even if it was
quid?
50 quid, I wouldn't buy it.
Okay.
I'm not buying it. As
Not buying it.
our lovely
buying it.
short form creator says, not buying it.
Not buying it.
Not buying it.
There's the Vita. Oh, what a piece
Wonder
of
if it's
technology.
got
Oh,
Charge
I
it.
love the Vita with its little camera on the back and its little touchpad thingy on the back
Yeah,
that I never knew how to
AR.
use.
Adam L's got another use case. We'll go over that in a minute.
Yeah, it needs charge, guys. But
Okay.
I actually had to swap the battery out of this thing because the charge would deplete in like 30 minutes. So I changed the battery on
Yeah,
it. Most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life.
Right, here we go. Adam L. Okay.
God, go
what
on,
if
read
you
it.
want to continue gaming while cooking your dinner?
What?
Ain't no one taking the
What?
PS5 into the kitchen. With the Q, you can cook a stir fry while playing games.
Adam, have you heard of this? This is called a mobile phone. And then you can download this app where you can play PlayStation games via PlayStation Remote Play. And then you don't need to spend $300 to get Project Q. Or in this instance, is this like caveman times where you don't have a phone but you somehow have a PS5? Right. Explain.
JD comes in with a great suggestion. I'd buy a Project Q if it allowed you to play PS3 games digitally. Technically, you could
JD
do it,
loves
but
his
over streaming.
PS3 games, doesn't he?
I mean, I do as well. Why are so many PS3 games not available to play on modern consoles? That's the issue. Metal Gear Solid 4.
I never had a PS3.
Resistance
I went
3.
PS2, Xbox 360, and
PS5.
PlayStation
PS4.
4,
Yeah.
PC, PlayStation 5.
I think that's
Just adding
the route for
a
most
quick
people.
poll into the chat. Would you buy a Project Q device for £230?
Anyone that says
Let us
yes, anyone
know
that says
what you
yes, I
think.
need you to justify it too. I need you
Yeah,
to explain
I'm really interested.
why
I'm
you
really
said
interested,
yes
actually.
if you say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so if
So
you say
just
yes,
keep that in mind.
please let us know
Yeah.
the reason why you would buy one.
Well, Adam L's
Um,
in Sony's pocket. He's buying one day one from all these use
Clearly,
cases he's come up with.
clearly.
I mean, I
Day
hate to
one.
call you out, but yeah.
Yeah, so we'll leave that poll going for a bit longer. And it's been the week of leaks, ladies and gentlemen, because Modern Warfare 3 has been leaked. We already knew Call of Duty 2023 would be coming this year, but a recent leak has seemingly confirmed it'll be called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I had no idea. No idea it was going to be called Modern Warfare 3. That is all new information to me.
I never knew that.
Oh,
Never knew that.
well, I never knew that.
There you go. We've all
I've
done
just
it now.
got it now. It's that guy outside the chicken.
Yeah,
shop.
yeah,
Right.
That happened in
I've just got
Bristol.
it.
That happened in Bristol.
Oh,
so
did it? Is that
it's-
why?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I tell you what, I am genuinely shocked a little bit because is anybody else bummed that this year's Call of Duty is Modern Warfare again? Like,
Yes.
it was the time
Yes.
of Black Ops to return. Cold War came out. It was great. I put in so much time in that game's online. Then we had Vanguard. Nobody cared about it. But Treyarch make the best Call of Duty games. We all know this. They're called Black Ops
Yes.
and World at War.
Yes.
So I'm a bit disappointed, actually.
So this is the official leak. I'm just going to add this. This is the Monster Energy packaging. This is via Charlie Intel. The original image was from algebra_sloth. So you can clearly see the Modern Warfare 3 logo with Captain Price on there as well, and Makarov on there.
Captain Price.
Captain Price. He
Oh,
actually
so
does
it wasn't like I didn't even know about these leaks. It wasn't Monster that actually like leaked it or anything like that. It's just through the promotional packaging.
Yeah, but they leaked it because the promotional
shipped
packaging
it.
has made it
Oh,
into
they
people's
shipped.
hands.
They shipped
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
promotional.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought this was someone in a factory who'd like seen it, and I don't know. I didn't realize it had been shipped. My bad, guys.
No, this is
Whoops.
actually
That's insane.
yeah.
And then didn't the Call of Duty Twitter account be like, oh, has anybody got an energy drink we can take a sip of or something?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. So
That's funny.
Activision, they got involved in the social media banter by essentially confirming the leak is correct. They said, "Woo, Mondays. Anyone have an energy drink they can spare?" Call of Duty developer Sledgehammer Games also changed its Twitter banner in the wake of the leak, with the new logo featuring the same 3 red lines shown in the leaked artwork.
Oh,
So,
that's a confirmation if I've ever
Yeah.
seen one.
yeah, and Call of Duty today have tweeted out saying 3 reasons why you're excited for the new Call of Duty.
Mm.
So, come on, guys.
Who
do
would
you
have guessed
think-
they're calling it Modern Warfare 3? Who would have guessed?
Yeah,
I
but
know.
my heart's
What?
broken. We had Modern Warfare 2 last year. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't how Call of Duty's done. Like, I don't... Anyway, sorry. Because wasn't the rumor that this was going to be like an add-on to Modern Warfare 2? So in that sense, it makes sense that they've built this DLC up from a DLC, kind of like what Ubisoft have done with Assassin's Creed Mirage. That was originally going to be Valhalla DLC, and they built it up.
Yeah, the original reports was that they weren't going to make a fully fledged premium release. They were just going to release a DLC for Modern Warfare 2 with like new maps and new campaign and everything like that. But I think something changed along the development pathway. They thought, hang on, we've actually got a full game here. So now there's going to be a full premium release in 2023, likely November, because that's normally when Call of Duty games drop. But it will be very similar.
Do we know it's this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be this year. It'll be this year.
What does this mean for Warzone?
So Warzone will be getting a new map. Is the latest information, the latest leaks, and it's going to be all items from Modern Warfare 2 can carry over into Modern Warfare 3, so that kind of ties into the continuation as well of everything. The fact that it's all going to feel very similar as well. We've got a couple more comments in the chat as well. We've got Adam L. I don't have a PS5, but I'm hoping they'll release a Q plus PS5 bundle so I can scam myself out of a grand. Okay, Adam.
That's insane.
You're go insane. For it, mate. Yeah. Callie says as well, is it just the logo that's been leaked? Is it really that serious?
Well, I think the logo kind of confirms that what the game is going to be, so I think that's why it's serious.
The game name, as of yet, is not confirmed.
We didn't know it was going to be Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah. It was kind of like it was one of those open secrets that people knew it was going to be Modern Warfare 3 for quite a while, but now it's all kind of coming out, and this is obviously the last confirmation.
I got a question for you guys then. When do you think Activision? I've been talking about Diablo so much. I was almost said Activision Blizzard again. Then when do you think Activision was originally going to reveal COD Modern Warfare 3? Because we got Gamescom coming up next month. I'm wondering, like. Outside, I mean, Call of Duty doesn't need Gamescom.
I'm surprised they didn't announce it in sort of Summer Games Fest period.
Yeah, I think people were expecting it. Normally is July when Call of Duty games get announced. Modern Warfare 2
so maybe this is their
July.
way of announcing it and drumming some hype around it, like slyly being like, maybe this is intentional. Because it happens with a lot of companies, don't they? They intentionally leak stuff so that people start talking about it, and then
do you think that
there's
works,
a massive hype.
Do you think that works? The leaks and then
we're talking about it. We wouldn't be talking about it if they weren't leaked, would we?
Good point. You sucked me in. It sucked me in.
Yeah,
exactly. It sucked me in to talk about it. Yeah. So should we look at the results of the poll?
Yes. Please.
Oh yeah, let's go on.
Let's end the poll.
Adam, how many accounts has Adam L been able to create in the space of that poll?
We've had 7 votes. 85% said no. 40% said yeah. That doesn't.
Whoever said yes, type your paragraphs right now. Type your paragraphs right now. I want to know why you said yes.
Reveal yourself. Who said yes?
Explain.
Adam, did you say yes?
Explain.
Single man, reveal yourself.
I actually can't see the results of the poll, like who voted what. Even though I've got the YouTube account open. But if you can please let us know if you were the one that said yes and why.
I do agree. It's not. I do think it's too much Modern Warfare. This is the point I was getting at. Like, what's great about the Call of Duty games is that it goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back. There was a few years there where we had things like Advanced Warfare. It was a dark time. It was a dark time in Call of Duty's history. Yes. Then they brought it back with Infinite Warfare, which is a better game than what people give it credit for.
Oh, you listen to COD, Aaron? I didn't know this.
I love the Call of Duty campaigns generally, but in recent years, it's like, Like, I'm one of those people that's like, what if Activision sold the campaign for like 20 quid per year, 25 quid? I'd buy it. I'm not interested in a lot. But having said that, Cold War's multiplayer was really good. We don't need to go over that again. But they're missing
there's a couple of old Call of Duty titles that have had their multiplayer re-enabled recently, like the original Modern Warfare 2, for example, and people are flocking to that. Over 100,000 people were playing that over the weekend.
That's because they're so buggy on the Steam release, right? It's like not fair or whatever. So
yeah, absolutely. I presume it's Adam L that said yes, because they've said in the chat, I stand by my justifications.
Horrendous. Really upset, scream crying after this podcast is finished, Adam, because you said this.
Yeah. And then JD with a very left field question. Imagine a hybrid between Peppa Pig and
JD just kind of says whatever pops into his head, doesn't
I
he?
don't want to imagine that.
Yeah. I mean,
he says whatever pops into his head.
It does remind me of Did anybody see that viral clip when the Peppa Pig game released last year? And there was a
Yeah.
bit where the Queen was featured in it, and the scene sort of like ends. They're splashing in puddles, and then all of a sudden it fades to black, and it says "R.I.P. Queen Elizabeth II."
That's insane. I
with
can't
the,
believe Queen Elizabeth was in the lore of Peppa Pig.
Yeah,
Can't believe that.
she was.
Yeah, she was.
That's insane.
I don't know if King Charles will be making an appearance in future seasons. I don't know.
Oh, he
but
must.
watch
he
this space.
must.
Yeah.
Because in the law now, if she's passed away in the Peppa Pig law, that means that he has to be the king.
That's the fact, though. The fact that they addressed her passing in the game. If I was the game, I would have kept her legacy alive. Like, oh, it's always the Queen.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But-
Tears of the Kingdom, the announcement was delayed 24 hours
Yeah.
Because
in the
of-
UK.
Yeah.
in the UK because of the passing of Queen
Yeah,
Elizabeth
I remember
II.
that.
So when it was finally announced, obviously it made sense why it was. But I feel like we've gone a little bit off topic here.
Yeah.
But Adam, if you're not prepared to have a look at why you're going to buy Project Q, then I look forward to you playing it and you telling us how you think of it later on in the year. Because
I demand a pro section to Jasmine's review of the queue. He says, there won't be one because there won't be any pros. I can guarantee you from looking at the device right now.
Well, the DualSense, it feels good to hold in the hands. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
Maybe
I can just hold a DualSense
ergonomically.
controller, Aaron. I can just hold a
I know.
DualSense controller.
I know, but in your pro section, just say feels exactly like a DualSense, and that's as positive.
they've
as you're
done a
gonna
good
get.
job on putting on the controller that they already manufacture onto something else. Is that really a pro?
Thank you, Nathan. Tell him it's not. It's not.
Yeah, Callie said, won't Sony see an issue with their decisions when they have to send out PS5s with their Project Qs for review? That's a very interesting point, actually.
Callie's lifting the curtain here. Talking
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
Yeah.
the
Well, with
Absolutely,
journalistic
the inner workings
perspective.
of
With PSVR 2, did they send PS5 units out to reviewers for that? I don't think they
They
did.
didn't send me one.
No, they didn't. No.
They kind of just assume that reviewers have a PS5 unit.
Yeah. So shall we leave? So we end the podcast on the big finish. Is the Vita charged?
Oh.
Is the PSP charged? What's happening? Let's have
Right.
a look at what we've got.
It was glowing orange, so
Oh, that's a good sign.
yeah.
If you want to know, my G Cloud is charged.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, give us some cloud performance.
I tell you what about if I leave it plugged in while I power it up, because it doesn't seem to be
Here we
liking
go.
that.
Here we go.
Powered by
Let's.
Android.
Oh, look at that.
Guys, look, you can see everything.
Look at that.
It's reflecting on the
What?
screen.
I didn't know that.
It's taking so long to turn on. This is taking
My
forever.
PSP's
Oh my
turning on
word.
sooner. Can you hear the PSP noises?
Yeah,
My
let's go
microphone.
to
Yeah.
let's go to Aaron
There
Potter.
you go. It's
Your
asking me-
PSP is turned on quicker than my
Yeah.
Logitech G Cloud. That's insane. There we go. It's on. There we go.
My PSP is asking me to set the time and date, so it's like.
Oh, is that
factory
long ago?
reset. There you go. But
Wow.
what a
Wow.
beautiful device
There we
this
go.
is.
I've put the pin in. Let's see what happens. It is just not doing anything. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Wait.
You got Game Pass.
Xbox
Beautiful.
Cloud Gaming, Nvidia GeForce Now,
Wow.
Xbox Steam Remote Play, and then you can go on YouTube.
Wow. What a
Great
world we live in.
device.
Can I just say
What a world we
something?
live in.
Oh,
about
and the
the-
Google Play Store.
Like, keep holding up that Logitech G Cloud or
Oh,
whatever it's
God,
called.
yep.
Does that not look like something that VTech would put out? Like a baby, sort of like 5 to 7 year olds. Like, why
Yeah,
is
it
it
does,
so? Look
doesn't
at the
it?
border on it.
Yeah,
What's
it is a
going
bit.
on?
You know the Kindle.
feels like
you know
one
the
to
Kindle's
use,
designed for
like-
babies with the big
Yeah,
purple
yeah.
bit around the edge. Yeah,
It looks
does
like
look a bit
that.
actually.
It feels like one, I promise you. And the buttons are quite like. I don't know if you can hear, but they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
very
Why would
good.
Logitech get involved in that? I just
That's
don't
what
get it.
I'm saying. That's
I
what
tell you
I'm
what, they
saying.
make good mice though. I'll say that they make good,
Yeah.
pretty half decent mice.
Snap.
Oh yeah, I'll say that
Snap.
too.
Oi,
Their mice are so good.
Logitech, stick to what you know.
How much
Yeah,
is that?
what was this?
Jasmine?
£329.99 or $350.
There's
Yeah.
show me the cost breakdown. I need to know components, like parts. Like I get you got to make a profit, but there is
Surely
no
they're
way.
surely they're less than that now. No.
Nope.
That probably
Sorry,
costs.
guys. I can go in the Play Store. It's fine.
Wait, you can play cut the rope.
£329. Well, I mean the Project Q's a bargain. It's
I
a
can download
bargain.
TikTok. I can download
But
TikTok
Nathan,
on here.
you don't need a PlayStation to use that either.
Oh yeah.
Let's
that's
not
true.
forget. This is what I
That's-
don't know, can't understand.
I'm downloading
Yeah.
TikTok so I can go and follow at Mirror Gaming
The Mirror
on
Gaming.
TikTok. At the Mirror Gaming on TikTok.
Wow.
God.
Well,
At least there we go. There's a use case for the G Cloud. I can use it. I can use TikTok on it. Can't do that on Project Q, can you?
Can't do that.
As far as we
Sorted.
know.
Can't do that.
Anyway.
Yeah. And on that note, I think it's time to end. Thank you so much, Jasmine, Aaron, for being on this week's show. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved in the chat. Been really enjoyable to debate Project Q and the potential use cases. So thank you, everyone. Callie, JD, Adam L, Narin, Scott popped his head in at the start and then went off. I'm guessing there was some stuff to do at work. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back next week with the Mirror Gaming walkthrough at the same time at 4 p.m. at BST every Wednesday. We'll also be streaming Sea of Thieves on Friday as a team, all four of us. There's only 3 of us on here. But Scott will be joining us on Friday to stream Sea of Thieves, which I'm really looking forward to because of the new Monkey Island content update. So make sure you click subscribe and you'll be notified when we go live on Friday for that. And you can obviously watch the walkthrough next week as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Have a great week. We'll see you then. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
I've lost the
Will
the
to
thing
live.
that says there you go.
Too much G Cloud chat.